Hello, I'm Dynast Amir.
So I reached out to another friend of mine. I said, look, I need to go on vacation somewhere. Where should I go? He said, go to Africa. And not only am I going to go, I'm going to explore a new country. So I went to Tanzania, South Africa, Namibia, Mali, Senegal, Morocco, Liberia, Namibia, Kenya, the Voodoo Festival in Ouida, Gambia, Togo, Cote d'Ivoire. Sierra Leone, Ghana, Nigeria. It's been a beautiful experience, just learning more about our culture, our indigenous culture. So Uhuru means freedom in Swahili. I'm in search of my roots. In finding that, I would experience my Uhuru, which is freedom.
Till next time, Dynast Amir, I'm out.
Let me unmute myself too. Peace, everyone. I hope all is well. I hope your day is going well, your morning, wherever you're at. I hope you're having an awesome day. Before we get started, a couple of announcements before we bring on Brother Subzero and Brother Javon on. If you have not bought the documentary In Search of Uhuru, please go to searchforuhuru.com. Please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Again, please go to searchforuhuru.com and buy the documentary. Also, tours. All right, so we are rolling to Sierra Leone in April, and citizenship is available to those who qualify. Citizenship is available to those who qualify. April 19th through the 30th. Again, April 19th through the 30th. We are rolling to Sierra Leone, April 19th through the 30th. Come and join us. We have about 6 spots left. We will love to have you guys on this tour. And once again, citizenship is available to those who qualify. Also, we are rolling to Senegal in May. May 21st through the 30th for the Jazz Festival. Again, May 21st to the 30th for the Jazz Festival. We are rolling to Senegal. Once again, we'll love to have you guys. We'll love to have you guys roll with us to Senegal. Then Nigeria in August for the Osun Festival. August 6th through the 15th. And then last but not least, Zanzibar, November. I think November 12th through the 21st. Come and join us. We will love to have you all. We will love to have you all. Please visit Danfo. That's DANFO. Danfo, DANFO .Africa. Please visit Danfo.Africa. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on Brother Subzero and Brother Javon on, and we're going to talk IT. Brother Subzero, go ahead and take it away.
Hey, man, how you doing, bro?
I'm good.
How you been? You been okay?
I'm good. Can't complain.
All right. So I'm Subzero, founder, creator of Lifting the Veil IT Academy. I went to Tuskegee University. Pretty much been teaching for about 5 years now. Um, I'm a database developer. I've been working in IT for well over about 14, maybe, yeah, 14 years now. Um, Pretty much what I do is I design reports. I do different things within different organizations. And about 5, 6 years ago on my YouTube channel, I just on a whim decided to, hey, let me go ahead and teach a few brothers about the IT space, teach them how much money that you can make because I had about $8,000 worth of traffic tickets. I was broke down and out, and I got into IT. I got into IT later in my life because I had been doing real estate. I had done so many different things, and the housing bubble happened, and I was just economically struggling at the time, and I needed a way to make some real money. And I got into IT with a company that was cost me about $15,000 to learn. But since then, I've been able to kind of, I guess, download my skills into my students for small nominal fee every month. We basically get the students up to speed in a matter of 3 to 4, or sometimes 4 to 5 months. And the students go out and start matriculating into the IT field to start doing jobs uh, or receiving jobs. My students make 90,000 to 100,000. That's the average when they come out. You may get somebody making 80, 85, but for the most part, we're looking at about 100,000. That's pretty much $50 an hour. That's where we usually land. Since the pandemic and since inflation has come, I've noticed that the rates have jumped about $15, $20 now. So everybody's, calling saying, hey, 65, $70 an hour is what everybody's kind of expecting now. And me, I got 12 years, so I'm asking for more than that. But I always tell my students, once you get to the 5-year mark, you're able to really, be considered a senior developer. And at that point, you can start asking for the higher rates. The reason we're here today, I've been doing classes. I've been on Dynasty's channel for a few months consistently. And, right now, this is probably going to be the highest paying skill set that we offer. And this skill set will be data science. I have a gentleman with me, Javon. Javon is a data scientist. I'm gonna let him explain how long he's been doing it and what he does, his expertise, what is a data scientist. But let me just start by saying this brother's impressive, and you will not be let down. Now, we will be teaching starting Monday on the 20th, database development. I'm sorry, data science, which for a brief overview, I guess that's like machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence, Python. Those are the things that, if you look at the highest paying fields right now, and there's an article I can read off that basically states that, the highest paying field is data science. And so I knew that this was going to be the skill set that I wanted to bring out here to really put people in the space they needed to be in. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce brother Javon. Javon, say what's up, brother.
Javon, nice to meet you too. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, man. I appreciate you guys letting me come on. And
hey, Javon, you're kind of low.
Can you hear me now?
That's better. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I appreciate you guys letting me on and talk about data science because, man, oh man, it's such a great thing. So just a quick background about me. Long story short, my grandparents, they were in the gas station business in the 50s. Fast forward to 2012, I had got into, 2009, I got into learning about data science. 2020 in the pandemic, I started working with the city of Atlanta. That's where I live now. Working with the government out there, basically just helping them take large, complex amount of data and simplifying it for the average person to use it. So just kind of catching everyone up to speed. So data science. So what's interesting is, and I'm, thank you for everyone who's on the call, but I want to, kind of talk to, just, people who are of color. A lot of people think who are of color that, let's say that, these tech jobs or the tech industry is hard to get into. Well, back in the day, it was. You needed to have a degree. You needed to have a bunch of this stuff because a lot of the technology that we have today was not available you know, 10, 15 years ago. So what I do as a data scientist is I just take large amounts of data and I basically use the tools that are available now to simplify the large amounts of data to basically come up with a solution. So how I can say that, like, let's say I'll compare it to like data science is like being like a detective who's like looking for clues, you know, to like a mystery. So let's say if I were to say that, like comparing that to like going out to eat, if you're trying to figure out, you know, like your friends and family's favorite food, you could take your time and ask them, hey, you know, what you like to eat, what you like to do. Or you can just remember the times that you guys have eaten out together and use that information that you remember to come up with a probability on what they would like to eat. That's kind of just breaking it down in a nutshell. So yeah, so that's just like a little bit about me. But you know, I love data science. I genuinely feel that you know, you know, for our people, you know, the tech industry is definitely a key to economic freedom. I mean, like right now, you know, if you're trying to find a job, you know, somewhere where you physically have to, use your hands. I mean, it's hard finding something around $20 an hour. So I feel like, you know, in the data science industry, I feel like, we just have more of a chance just because in this industry, in the tech industry, it's really not about, color per se. It's just about can you do the job? And if you just know the skill sets of the job, which are very simple and very applicable, just because in a nutshell, just long story short, in today's technology, they have things that are available on everyone's computer that allow you to do these type of skill sets where you don't have to know all the statistics and calculus and all the other stuff that you once had to learn 15 years ago. So,
Okay, Javon. Javon, let me ask you a question.
mhm,
So, let's say you're a new student
mhm.
or a potential student. You like the money, you like what you're hearing, but you're worried about the money piece. You're worried about can you get, well, not the money, but the knowledge. Am I going to be able to grasp these concepts in 4 to 5 months and really be able to go out here and get these people to convince these people to give me $60, $70 an hour? Like, I mean, how confident are you that that could be done?
I'm really confident, just because, for example, if you're taking, the time of 4 or 5 months, one, when you go to a job, they already have like a training program once they hire you. So you just need to be what is called employable. You just need to know the basic skill sets where somebody can just hand you some information and train you on what they need it to look like. So college typically they try to make you, like Mark Zuckerberg level, which is nothing wrong with being Mark Zuckerberg level. But a lot of these companies that are hiring now just need someone that just knows the basics because they're going to put you through their program anyway. So that's the only difference between today's time versus back then. Back then, they didn't have they didn't have all the tools that Microsoft and Amazon and Apple has to offer now, to where you don't have to actually do those calculations anymore. So, a tech company just needs someone that they can just say, "Hey, I just need you to do it like this." They're going to show you exactly what they want it to look like, and as long as you just know the basics, which if you think about it, you're learning something for 4 months, for a few hours out of the day, and you're only focused on that one topic. 4 months, that's almost like 2, 3, 400 hours that you have learning about a topic. You can be employable within like 400 hours. I mean, if that's all you're focused on, that's all you're learning about, you have time to ask questions and go through the exams and questions and potential problems in the workforce that you can physically do. I mean, you know, I mean, that can be done, within a few hundred hours. It don't take that long. Because if you look at most certificate routes, they're quick, straight to the point. College is not really quick, straight to the point. You got to go to 2 years to do this, to learn that. Then the next, 2 years, you're going to learn this for 2 years. Then they want to take you and make you learn Python for a year. And that's just because, if you're paying 100 and some thousand, they got to make it worth 100 and some thousand. But
And that's the thing. I think college has turned into a racket. Not just with the ideology that they instill in a lot of kids when they go there, but just the amount of money that you spend, the amount of just outright debt that you come in. And a lot of times, African Americans, if you study the demographics of African Americans spend on average 30 minutes a night on homework. That 30 minutes a night equates to you not really majoring in STEM science because you're not a math is not your forte, usually. Not every time, but usually. What that does, that puts you in the lower rung of the economic strata. And this is why you always hear the income gap, the wealth gap, and all these different things, because the jobs, I've seen students, me working in IT, I've been working in companies and seen kids come out at like 20 years old, 18, I mean, not 20, like 22, just getting out of college. And these kids are coming out making ridiculous amounts of money, 85, 90. For a kid fresh out of college, that's a lot of money. And by the time, if you started it with a company, by the time you make 85, by the time you're 30, you're probably north of 150, easy. And that's not even really moving that much. That's like maybe taking one role here, a role there, you know, gaining a couple of certifications, gaining, learning, studying, and then you'll be able to get out there and really be able to, you know, compete economically. And if you want to start a business, a lot of times you don't necessarily need to go to the bank to borrow money. You could always bootstrap a business. But if you really want to have good tax returns and you really want to be able to borrow the money you need to borrow to put you where you need to be, then it probably behooves you to go ahead and get you, a skill set that pays a substantial amount of money. Like if you are if you're a let me think, if you're like a person that works at a factory and some company's paying you $90,000, if they let you go, can you go and replace that $90,000? Is it easy for you to replace it? You may think it is, but your job, one thing I tell my students, don't ever fall in love with a job. My students, and we talk about getting let go. I mean, we plan for every scenario. And when students get let go, I tell them, they'll call me, not like fired or anything, but it just depends. Like if the project is over or something like that, they'll call me and I'll tell them straight out, guys, you have the skills, you have the time, go ahead and, start submitting for different positions and you'll become competitive. The thing is, this class, this data science class is unlike anything we've ever offered. We'll be going for the DP 100 Microsoft certification, which covers machine learning, deep learning, artificial intelligence. It covers all that. You'll be learning Databricks, you'll be learning Python, all the hot industry things. You'll be doing this all in the cloud and Azure, using what's called resources within the Azure platform. And we're going to just have you create everything from scratch and learn for yourself and just be hands-on. After that, we'll also we're going to go through the actual practice test that is recommended by Microsoft. We're going to go through that in class live and it's going to be recorded. And so you'll be able to, all you got to do is watch those classes. And if you've been paying attention, if you've been studying, you'll be aware and you'll be, cognizant of what you need to be cognizant of to be competitive for this test. Once you get the certification, we prepare your resume. We talk about getting you up to snuff with interview questions. We listen to live interviews. We record interviews. We listen to them. And then we let you come back and say, okay, this is why you messed up. This is why you did great, whatever, right? And so by the time you come through the academy, this is why you see so many of my students that always want to say, hey, man, this guy's the real deal here. Because what we do is we do all the peripheral things that will prepare you. Because, going and getting training, you can go to anywhere to get training. But if you want it from a Black perspective, you want someone who's African-American, who's been in these boardrooms and been in these different places that can instill the soft skills, if you will, that you'll need to be able to be really competent within these situations and speak with confidence and authority. If you want that, then you need to have somebody in your corner who's been through that, who's down, who will help you with your resume, who will help you put whatever needs to be on there to get these people to call you, that'll tell you how to get the references and get everything so that you can get before these people and you can start making 150. Maybe is that your first job? Maybe not. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, you know, you can get 100 pretty, you know, that's pretty consistent. We consistently get 6-figure jobs consistently. And I'm talking about people that drive trucks, talking about people that do all different types of things. You got anything, Javon?
Yeah, man. No, I just want to piggyback off what you're saying. Yeah, so I mean, when I say you consistently will get 6-figure jobs, because here's the thing. So back in the day, like, most of us was on this phone, we probably couldn't get into oil or sugar or the wheat industry. Oil industry is $1 billion. So can you imagine getting into the oil business the first day oil came out, where it became valuable? So we live in a day where, we're not old enough to have been born back then to get into that industry. We didn't have the knowledge back then if we were old enough. But now, data science is not really an old industry. It's fairly new. So it's almost like getting into the oil industry back then, but in today's time, today. Like 20 years from now, it's going to be hard to become a data scientist just because everyone is going, all the other people are going to be there. But you're getting into where a lot of these new businesses are looking for new skill sets that they're not necessarily looking for a college degree just because it's a brand new industry. I mean, Microsoft Azure, it's not even 15 years old. So it's like, if you're trying to get into the old infrastructural model, you're going to lose. Only reason why you're going to lose is just from a time difference. You wasn't born 1842 to get into the Stanford industry and the railroad business with Henry Kissinger and all them. And even then, back then, you had to have around $250,000 in the 1800s to even participate. So the reason why you have the chance now is back then oil was, under $1 a barrel back then. So in today's time, you're getting into the data science industry in today's time where the price is fairly low just because they're looking for the talent and they need it, and it's a new industry. 20 years from now, you're gonna be getting paid way more than 6 figures. That's just what they're paying today for today's rate. And all you're doing is, if you know how to use Instagram, if you know how to use Facebook, TikTok, all that is data science. Let's say if you're looking for a specific person or a specific influencer online, the concept of you going into the Explorer, the search tab, typing up a series of phrases to find out who that person is that went viral, to locate who that actual individual is, that page, that was a series of data science you did to actually get to that person. So let's say if somebody's looking for Kim Kardashian, let's say she did something interesting, they're gonna look at the hashtags, they're gonna look at the formulas, they're gonna look at on the Explore tab, okay, what was her name? Kim Kardashian. Okay, let me type it in. Once they find her page, all that was data science. So social media, if you made a MySpace page, all those were prerequisites back then to prepare you for data science, in my personal opinion. But because me, I don't have a college degree, and no disrespect to someone who has a college degree. I mean, if you went through the whole process and got that degree, that's awesome. But in the tech industry, someone just wants to know: can you follow directions, and can you click, paste here, and run the terminal here? They just need you to do directions they're going to provide you. So it's
Let me
not
ask you this: Do people make less money because they don't have a college degree, or do they even ask?
They don't even ask, man. Well, I'll say this: if you are going for, like, I'll give you this example. I had a Raytheon call me; they're a defense company, and they needed me to do some data science work. They were just more so concerned if I could do the skill set. They weren't really looking for the degree, just because they want to know if you actually can do the skill set. So I haven't never been asked for the degree before. And I've had companies like Booz Allen Hamilton call me, Microsoft, and they were just more so like, can you use the tools? And they, all they're going to do in the interview is say, well, hey, explain me, how did you use, Databricks, or what situation were you in that caused you to use this skill set here? And they just want to know how you do the skill set, because they're going to give you their proprietary information on what they want the job to look like. So they're going to give you training on what they want it to look like. Meaning they don't expect you to know their way of doing it, because they're going to train you. So it's almost like if you're just employable and the job knows it's a new industry. Typically, everyone that's hiring, they know it's a new industry. they're going to sit with you anyway and go over on what they want it to look like. So that means they're going to go hand by hand, meaning if you're already hired, you can ask questions. Hey, such and such, show me that again. I was confused. You already got the job. They just need to know that you're employable. So for me, just not having a degree, yes, I have friends and family who did cool things in life. But man, when I took the time just to learn these skills, at the time they were just, available to the public to learn. I didn't have to go to a large institution. I mean, it just changed my life. Just because when I got on the interview, they asked me the question, I'm answering it, and I got the job. And when I say what the hard part is actually physically doing it, physically looking for the job. The art of finding the job is the challenge. But if you get on an interview and they ask you 2, 3 questions, and you took 4 months to study one thing, you're gonna know that answer. I mean, there's no question you're gonna know the answer. So that's the only reason what makes it easier is just because the companies that are hiring now are not looking for those big degrees. They just want to know if you know the skill set. And the difference between a degree and a skill set is straight to the point, one thing, one focus. A degree gives you like a range of talents and abilities to go do different things. But data science is very specific, straight to the point. And that gets into artificial intelligence and machine learning. So a lot of
and that's what we're talking about. Really, it sounds like what you're describing to me is what they used to call apprenticeship. Instead of you going and getting a big, broad, you get freshman history, freshman English, freshman math. You don't do any of that. You go straight into the skill set. And I remember when I was at Tuskegee, we took freshman level courses, but the only 2 courses I really needed to take, one course I needed to take that whole semester. It was 150, 210, 220, and 230. Before, you couldn't take any other courses until you passed 230. Then they will let you go get other courses. By the time you get to the past 230, you're a junior. Because each one of these was a semester. So 150, 210, that's your freshman year. 220, 230, that's your junior year. I mean, your sophomore year.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time you start taking electives like data management and different file management, other things, you're already 2 and 3 years ahead. Already wasted 2, 3 years taking one course. And it's really just learning C++. That was all we were learning. It wasn't like we were learning any other thing. So it was like, I was like, man, why didn't they teach us Java? Why didn't they teach us, all these other things that you could learn? Well, that's to stretch it out.
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, well, you're not ready to take it. Yeah, they'll say that. And they can make up reasons. They can always make up reasons to make things sound difficult. Because if not, how else would they justify charging you $20,000, $30,000 a semester? And so what I want you guys, I know a lot of y'all are probably like, man, I don't have no interest in trying to be in this space because it's so, it's just, and I guess one thing what we'll talk about the first couple of days of class is getting rid of the wrong ideas in your mind as to where you belong and where you don't belong. Because I think those are the things that really hinder us as African Americans, is thinking that, hey, we don't belong here. This isn't our space. And dare I say we ask those questions. What are some limiting ideas that you may have? Because what happens is in the long run, you'll find yourself telling yourself, hey, man, I'm not smart enough. I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have the skills, the prerequisite skills to really be, a viable candidate for these jobs. And what happens is you stifle your own growth. And so we deal with that because that's why you have you need a nurturing environment if you're African American. You don't need a space where it's going to be, okay, we're going to just teach you this. You're done. Goodbye. We'll help you. Okay, we'll give you a job and we got a little career department. We'll try to help you get a job. Well, what about when you get in that first scrum meeting? Or what about if they ask you, okay, walk me through an average day on your last project? Walk me through, okay, you have this issue going on. How would you fix it? These are the things that make you keep your job. Anybody could teach a person how to get a job. In order to keep it, and I'm pretty proud of this, a lot of my students keep their jobs. They don't get jobs and then, they're getting fired three weeks later. No. My students keep their jobs. And the thing is, once you've worked in this industry for a while, you know, okay, once you got one job, you're good. You know you can get another one. And so you can sit back and just let your phone ring, because your phone rings every day. Like I got 4 phone calls a day from different recruiters trying to get, I counted them today. I got 4 phone calls of people trying to offer me positions, want me to go interview with somebody. They ask me my rate, I tell them, right? And that's it. I give them a 3-figure rate now. I'm starting to throw out 3-figure rates because I got 12 years in the game. So I throw out 3-figure rates, and then they be like, okay, well, I can't do that, but I could probably do 90. I could, and that's what we talk. That's how we talk.
Yes, sir.
Javon?
Hey, Sub, you wanna take callers, or you guys wanna take callers?
Oh, yeah, go ahead. We'll take a couple.
Okay, guys, I'm gonna put the link in the chat room. If you're gonna call in and add to the conversation, link is in the chat room.
Yeah, so we have other courses coming down the pipe with Lifting the Veil, but what we're really focused on now is just getting you guys prepared to, with this data science, because we think this is going to be this class. A lot of you guys are going to get certified, and you're going to get out there. Once you got the certification, in the industry standard, that's equivalent to 2 years experience. But then we're going to help you with everything else too, not just the certification. I know people that got certified and couldn't get jobs. So it's not just about a certification, although some people have you believe that. Certification is more to it than that. You need to have those soft skills to be able to really hold your own. Javon?
Yeah, that's definitely true. You do have to be able to hold your own out there, and just just piggyback. When someone wants to ask their question, I hope someone asks a question, because I want to hear what just what people think in general. Because I don't know many people's background, but if you just genuinely look at the times, how they're changing, why don't you deserve a 6-figure job? I mean, if you actually have the skill set and can answer the questions, and they're looking for someone entry level. A lot of them that are hiring are asking for entry level, and if you're new to it, new meaning that's entry level. So if someone is looking for entry level, and you just got started learning this, 4 or 5 months ago, and you have your certification, wouldn't you be qualified for the opportunity then? They're looking for an open entry, someone that just got their certification, and you have your certification. You've been doing it 4 or 5 months. You would be qualified. It's just most of us just don't know the knowledge, because you got to think about it. A lot of these jobs, they'll go hire someone overseas because they have the skill set. But now that Microsoft and all these other companies are so aggressive in just building the technology, and all you need to do is just know how to operate the tool for the technology, then they make it where they don't have to go overseas and hire someone and give them an H-1B1 visa. They come over here and work. They can just use you. They may pay you a lower rate, but if you're worth 120, 130,000 just because you got the entry level skill sets, but they come and offer you 80,000, 90,000, you're not gonna take that.
And that's the thing, is also, you got to ask yourself, these companies are willing to pay. I mean, we're talking about upwards of $20,000 to fly somebody from halfway across the world, and you right outside at the same gas station. You in the same neighborhood with some of these people. Some of y'all, your kids go to the same school. You have an upper hand. In other words, culturally, some people come from cultures where, these people don't even wear deodorant. They're not trying to knock these people. It's just a different culture. And so coming here in America, you've been American, having grew up in America, you're actually probably more better fitted to really, and more equipped to really go into these industries and really take hold. And I think at this point, what I want to do with Lifting the Veil is really change the space on blacks in tech. I don't want to see us continue to get the short end of the stick, because that's what's been happening over the last, I'd say, 50 years since Silicon Valley came into existence. Probably 60, 70 years, really. They, you know, we've been ignored. We're not in those spaces. And when you talk about having a prerequisites to get in certain rooms, that has cost us over the last, I'd say, 30 years. That's probably cost us, I don't know how many black millionaires and billionaires. Because you got to think about it. You're like, well, you talking about a skill set and a job. What does that have to do with creating wealth and being entrepreneurial or having your own? Well, think about it. Guys, what you're looking at right now with Chat GPT and artificial intelligence, you're looking at the next, as I would put it, probably gold rush, if you will. And the gold rush of 1849 happened, Silicon Valley happened, and there are certain moments in time where if you are, a lot of people become wealthy because they're in the right place at the right time with the right skill set and the right. And what's going on right now with this artificial intelligence, many organizations are going to start switching over. They're going to need people to have those skill sets. There's a windfall, a shortage of people, specifically African American, but just period. Even when I see black people doing this, it's usually somebody from Africa or somebody from Jamaica, or their parents are from there. But rarely will you find someone that is of a descendant of slaves, parents in America, been America, great grandparents were American, and they're in this industry. A lot of times it's rare. In fact, when you go to Silicon Valley, we make up like 1% of Silicon Valley. But don't just look at Silicon Valley. Also, you got to look at, a lot of times what we do is we assume Silicon Valley is the whole of tech, and it's not. Tech is made up of Hooters. I get calls from Hooters. They call people that have my skill set, and they need people that understand data. Waffle House needs people that understand data. Best Buy needs people McDonald's needs people that understand data. Wherever there's data, wherever there's information, someone needs to manage it. And that's where this skill set will put you. It'll put you in charge, because you'll be that person that they have to come to ask questions as time goes on. And so we're really excited about this, guys. You probably can hear the excitement in my voice. I'm really excited because I really do believe that we're doing a good thing here with helping people to change their lives. And so that's really all we really care about, is changing lives, getting people where they need to be, where they're not stressing about am I going to pay my bills? Am I going to make it? What about my kids? Are they going to, so-and-so's going to college? Can I afford it? You don't have those problems, But doesn't look like anybody coming up, Dynast, man. Do you got anything else? Oh, well,
No,
spoke too soon.
Right here. Go ahead, Andy. Andy, unmute yourself, Andy. Andy, we can't hear you. Unmute yourself. Andy, we still can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Can't hear you, Andy. We can't hear you, bro. I swear, man, y'all be knowing all this tech. It can't be working in tech. Subzero, I swear.
Hey, man, don't do me like that. They ain't never happened to me.
All the tech, all the search, but know how to work your microphone on YouTube, on StreamYard.
Can you hear me?
We hear you now. Go ahead, loud and clear. Go ahead.
Hey, thanks for having me on your platform. We've been watching you guys for a long, long time.
Go ahead, brother.
Okay, so I just wanted to. Okay, I'm in the tech industry. I've been in tech. Just like
That's on your end. You probably got turned off the playback.
Yeah, hold on. Let me turn that off. Okay, I think that should be better now. Okay, so like I said, thanks for having me on your platform. Been watching you guys for a long time. So I'm a techie. I've been in the tech industry for over 20 years. And I want to like make a comment of what Subzero is saying. Was speaking about. Um, used to work for a big company. I'm not going to mention a name here on YouTube, but big company in RTP. That's where I'm located. I'm in North Carolina. Anybody familiar with Research Triangle Park? That's basically the Silicon Valley of the East Coast, right? And like I said, I'm an engineer by profession. Like I've been doing that for many years. And there was a company called Citizen Schools where we would do like we would go into the low performance schools to help like the young kids, like just like a volunteer program type thing, right? We would go to like twice a week. And guess what? These low performance schools, guess what? They're black schools, right? And I was like one of the few black instructors that went there to actually help encourage the kids, right? And this was like middle school, to help them, to motivate them to, to get better grades and all that stuff, to persuade them to go into the IT industry, right? And like on the very first day when we introduced ourselves to these to the kids, right? We we introduce, hey, my name is blah blah blah, work for this company, this is what I do, etc., right? And we would go around. Every semester was the same thing. We would ask like the students to introduce themselves, like tell them that, their name, how old they are, what do they like, and what they want to do when they grow up. Guess what? These kids, all the black males, said to them, said that they want to be when they grow up. Take a guess.
Athletes or rappers?
Athletes or rappers?
Yes, football player or basketball player. And every semester, I was like, oh my frigging God, really? I mean, and this is like, this is this is in like the schools in Durham, right? Durham, North Carolina, right? And like I said, there's RTP. If you Google, if anybody knows about RTP, Research Triangle Park, there's over 1,500 tech companies in that area, right? And just like the brother was saying, they're flying people from all the way on the other side of the planet. I'm not going to mention, but you guys figured it out. You know what I'm talking about. People from the other side of the planet flying them in for jobs here. Meanwhile, you have these people like, we have, black communities. Like I mean, like the communities like right here. You could take a stone and throw it and hit the building, right? Where there's like job opportunities where you can make a six-figure salary, every year just because you have like a tech degree or you have the skill or whatever it needs, right? But no, but you have someone, you have like, for me, I blame the parents, man, because like you have, the parents have this thing in their head, oh, they want to be a basketball player, a football player, or whatever. Like, guess what, man? I mean, to be like, to be a good basketball or a football player, you have to be like the best of the best of the best. You know what I mean? I mean, I mean, and like, and like I said, every semester was the same spiel we had. We try to get them and say, hey, this is like, if you have like a high school degree and you get into tech, this is how much you're gonna make. If you have a bachelor's, this is how much you're gonna make. If you have we had these PowerPoint charts, and we say, hey, if you have a master's degree, this is how much you're gonna make. And this is like the demand, like in the next 10 years or 5 years, this is how many jobs that's available, right? But that's all I wanted to talk about, man. It's just crazy. We need to get to more into tech.
I mean, you can have average, below subpar skills in tech and clear 150. I mean, if you've got X amount of years, the more years you get, the more money you can ask. It's just, I don't care. You could be just average. The more years you get in tech, the more money you can ask. And so I'm talking about by the time you're 30. Let's say if you start at 22, By the time you're 30, you can look and not bat an eye. I need 160,000. Nobody's gonna laugh. You got almost 10 years, you know. And whereas, I mean, that's close to. I mean, you got doctors that make 200. Some of them make 4 or 5. But look, I work 2 jobs. I'll get 2 6-figure jobs, work them, and I'll clear more than some dentists. And I didn't go to medical school. I was not a good student. You know, I'm just telling the truth, guys. I'm an old country boy from Alabama. You know what I'm saying? And if I can do it, I'm a look. I always say that I'm a country boy from Alabama. You can hear it in the way I talk. That's what I am. I try to be the most down to earth guy you're gonna meet. I'm not gonna be on this pretentious. Oh, I'm smart because I'm in tech. No, man. Hey, I get it. You know, you know, I'm a blue collar person. To be honest with you, that's really who I am. I feel like more of a blue collar guy, but I didn't want to make blue. I didn't even say blue collar doesn't pay, but I just didn't want to make $40,000-$50,000. I need to make more than that. I need good tax returns because I want to build houses. I got other things I'm trying to do, and I don't need a tax return saying I make 60,000, 50,000. I need a tax return saying I make 200, 240, 250, so that I can walk in and you know, they say, okay, we need you to bring in here 45,000. Okay, give me about 2 months. I'll come back with it. Give me 2.5, 3 months. I got you. Yeah. You know, that's the difference in that type of freedom. In that people, you don't think of that. You don't think of it as freedom. The skill set gives you the freedom, not the company. I get fired from my jobs. It doesn't matter. You can let me go. I've been let go. But guess what? I'll get a job like in a matter of three weeks to a month. And I'll make the same amount of money. And a lot of times, I remember I got let go one time, and I got a job in 48 hours. I never forget this. They let me go on a Wednesday. I didn't even look. I think I didn't even look for a job. That Thursday, I just said I'm just taking today off. Friday, a recruiter called me. He submitted my resume. I said, all right, yeah, I'll send it to you. I sent it to him. He's like, hey, they want somebody quick. Can you do an interview? When could you do it? I said, I can do it today. He said, okay, hold on. He called back. Said, yeah, they'll talk to you at 2:00. Right? The recruiter said, hey, they're going to talk about this, and this. I said, all right, no problem. They called me. Interview went well. I talked to him. I said, oh, yeah, and guys, I record my interviews, not just mine, but the students. So when you come to Lifting the Veil, we'll play the interview and let you see what a real interview sounds like. So you'll know, you won't be scared. You'll know what to expect, right? So anyway, I aced the interview. About 4:30, 5 o'clock, I'm expecting next week to get a call. 4:30, 5 o'clock, they called me. Oh, yeah, can you be to work Tuesday? I was like, yeah. He's like, well, hey, congratulations. I was like, man, it's 48 hours. I got my first job. The first one that called me, I got it. And that's not just the only, that's happened to me probably a myriad of times where my first interview, I get one good interview and we just knock, and that's what we work on at Lifting the Veil, knocking interviews out the park. I call them home runs. They toss it across home plate. Certain questions, we knock it across the park. And if you're a student and you come here and you answer the question, you may even be correct. But I'll tell you, look, I'm sorry, I can't pass you, because you have to pass our interview process as well before we help you with all this stuff. Yeah, you can pass the certification, but if you want me to help you, you want us to help you, then what you need to do is you need to pass the interview process with us thoroughly, because you could be in an interview, answer every question right, but if you answered it in such a manner as if you didn't sound like you knew what you were talking about, or you were stumbling over your words, or you were saying, you doing all that, what happens is that in people's minds, and I've been in the room when I've been there, and I'm sure you guys can relate as well on the panel. When that person leaves, what do they say? Oh, he or she, they're too junior. We're looking for someone more senior. And I'm like, the guy got all the questions right, but he didn't sound like it. And that's what I know. That sounds, oh man, that's petty. At least he knew the answer. If I ask you, hey, tell me how to drive a car. You open the door. You put the key in the ignition. No, wait a minute. First you sit down. Then you put the key in the ignition. You put the car in drive. Oh, wait a minute. You got to bag up first. You bag out of this parking space. Got to look both ways. Look, that person doesn't sound confident, do they? It took me too long to answer a question that you can answer in seconds. That as a developer, because you have experience driving, you know better, right? You know, oh man, you're supposed to answer that real quick. These are certain types of questions. So I tell you those questions. I even give you note cards with the questions. So you all, I'm like, print these note cards out, cut them, review them at the red light. Every time you get to a red light, review the questions. Every time you get to, when you get a 5-minute break throughout the day, you can pick up an hour and a half of studying throughout your day by doing little 10-minute slots here and there. So that's what I tell my students to do. Right? We're about winning at Lifting the Veil. We're not about losing, and we're gonna do whatever we got to do. That's how it works.
We got a call. Tiarka, go ahead.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys and appreciate you, Diners, for you guys presenting this information to the community. I've been following you, sir, but I never knew that you started the Lifting the Veil project. Because a lot of times we do on these channels, we study Black history, but we never study Black futures. And IT is the future, and we really need to concentrate intensely on securing it. And I'm glad you guys are putting together, a team to do that. And, I can see myself coming on board with that in the future. But I got a quick question. So, is there any manual physical labor at all in
No,
this field?
not at all. I mean, unless you're talking about like maybe like help desk, like if they want you to go pick up a computer, but those are lower paying jobs. We don't even teach Lifting the Veil. We don't teach those skill sets. I don't teach skill sets. I mean, unless you're talking about running wires or something with networking. We don't teach the skill sets. Like, and I'm not saying you can't make money with networking. Don't want to open that Pandora's box. But from my knowledge, the only guy I've ever seen that really has to physically do something is the guy that comes and picks your computer up and installs the software. And he's sitting down most of the day too. He's not. It's not like where it's nothing backbreaking. We don't believe in doing backbreaking work. We everything we teach, every skill set Lifting the Veil teaches is $100,000 skill set. We don't teach anything below that. And there are skill sets that a lot of African Americans tend to want to jump into that are easy to get into, and they're easy for a reason. So yeah, we don't do. From what I know, now I don't know about you, Javon. Do you know of anybody that does any physical labor?
No, the only physical labor you're gonna do is really just use the computer, because they just need you mostly on the computer. Doing whatever assignment they're gonna give you. And then typically the job, when they bring you on, they're gonna take you about 2 weeks to train you on how they want the information to look. So, and typically you just watching what the job telling you to do, and they're gonna make you ask questions because they know you in training. And you're already hired, but you're just going through the way they want to teach you. So that's the benefit of once you got the basics, because the job really is going to just tell you what they want, and they're going to put you through their own training program. And so it's and like I said, most of them looking for entry level, so they're not expecting you to be an expert. They just need to know, can you click, place information here, and give me the result that I need. And and they're going to show you what to do. So that's what make it easier, is the fact that the job that calls you, that hire you, is typically going to give you some type of training, because they wanted it to look how they want it to look. And again, they don't expect you to know what they know, because they know you don't work there yet. So that's the difference.
Mike Jones, you're new on the platform. Please turn your camera on first before I let you on, so I could see your face. Mike Jones in the waiting room. All right, there you go. Okay, you can turn your camera back off. You can turn it back off. All right, go ahead, Mike.
Hey, how y'all doing tonight? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Go ahead.
What's going on?
Okay, cool. What's going on with y'all, man? I just got a two-part question, man. I guess it's Javon, you training people with tech?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Are you training people to be independent contractors or to get a job?
So it will be both, because some jobs only want you to be a 1099, and then some jobs want you to be a W-2.
Which one is
So
better for our people to which one you think would be more beneficial in the long run for our people?
I'll say you can get a W-2 and a 1099. So if someone call you for a W-2, I think they're both beneficial because you can get both at the same time. So somebody may want you for a 1099 for, for a small assignment. Your W-2 may want you, for a longer assignment. So, but you can do both, and your W-2, from my experience of having a W-2, your W-2 don't care if you got a 1099. So this allows you to get multiple six-figure jobs, as long as it's one like you can't get two W-2s at the same time. They call that moonlighting. I think that's what it's
Why
called.
not? You can't have a part-time and a full-time.
Yes, but okay. So you can't have two full-time W-2s.
Well, yeah, let me say this.
I'm just saying,
I've
why
done
not
it.
though?
I've done that.
Why
I've
not?
done that.
We
Well,
could do
I
that
have.
with
You can. They,
Africa.
they have no way of really knowing. You can do it. He's just saying you probably don't want to let one company know. As long as you get the job
It could
done.
be a conflict of interest. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So as long as you're getting the job done, they're not really going to be double checking. I've worked 3 jobs before.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
how we usually got to get down. Okay, so I'm about to just take up like 2 more seconds, man. Another question. Dealing with the tech company, do you have to worry about a background check?
Yeah, most of the time, but I've had students that have had situations. I mean, I've been dealing with black people, so I've had students that have,
I mean, it's
you
not
know,
just black people that got records now.
what yeah, I wasn't saying that only black people have records, but
Okay.
1 in 3 African American men do. So what I'm trying to
Got
say
you.
is when black men call me, a lot of times I tell them about different organizations that you can go through and get your LexisNexis cleaned up.
Mhm.
There's another company that I dealt with. It's a lawyer out of Florida that does it. And I had, and depending on the recruiter and the project and what it is that they're asking, a lot of times you don't really have to worry about that until it's time to get the job offer. When they say they
I got
want you, then they ask you, okay, can you pass a background check? And that's when you start telling them, oh yeah, I had a gun charge, I had whatever some years
I got
ago. And the further back it was, the better it is as well. So I've seen people kind of reason their way past that.
I got you. So they're able to talk their way through it. Okay, so
Yeah.
how many of these jobs do you have to have like a governmental like clearance? Is it that deep or just like regular?
You got government jobs out there.
No,
But
not that. I'm just saying like in general, any type of tech job, whether you're working for Google, whatever y'all do, doing
yeah,
tech.
you necessarily don't need a government clearance.
Okay, so you
Um,
can skate then. Okay, cool. So look, for the brothers who do have records, are they able to get in tech by being an independent contractor?
yeah, especially if you're talking about what do they call it? What's that word? Freelance. So yeah, you got places you can
It's
go and
independent contractor. It's the same thing.
well, yeah, it's a difference though, because a lot of times you may be called an independent contractor, and sometimes you're coming in and you're working just alongside a full-time employee. Whereas when you talk about freelancing, you could be just a guy that's doing one specific thing. You don't necessarily have to even show up. They just want you to do it. It's like if I tell you, hey, you work for me, but I'm paying you off the books or whatever. Then somebody say,
Man,
well, this guy's
hold on.
coming and doing a bid on
You
something
you done
else.
had some gigs that paying you off the books.
No, what I was just doing that as an example.
I mean, we need like a valid example.
But
You know what I
if
mean?
you if you
If you
if
say
you
something like that, our people gonna be like, okay, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to give you. I was trying to give you an example as to you to put it in layman's terms.
Mhm.
So yeah, but what I was basically saying was ultimately, yeah, regardless of the fact, you can get a job and be successful in the industry.
Okay, so
but if you
for
1099, and let me ask you, if you 1099, and you can come in as an LLC and just be an employee of your LLC where no background check is
see,
needed, right?
that's why
Yeah.
that's why I jumped on so we could teach our people how to wiggle.
That that's
That's how
not
other
that's
people
not
do it.
that's not necessarily true, because like even in insurance, you're 1099, but they still
Insurance is a lot different though, brother.
Right, but I would just be coming in to service whatever I'm
Well, yeah,
doing as an employee.
but whenever you go on any job, a company is going to ask you, can once you do the interview, the company's going to ask you, okay, can you pass a background check? That organization that called you, that even
True.
told you about the company, they have a relationship with these hiring managers within these organizations, and you have to pass a background check. Now, what happens is, depending on how you word it, and some companies I've seen them let it go. It can happen. I'm just not saying, but usually there are times where we can't do it.
See, no, but I think the brother was on to something, because if you set up an LLC and you employ yourself, right, the company does the background check on an employee as long as he sign off on it.
Well, I'll say this:
You get what I'm saying?
the ones, and not to cut you off,
Go ahead, bro.
but the ones that do look for a background check, they want to make sure that you're not like a hacker or a cyber threat. So they're more so looking for. So I've seen.
Not to cut you off, but just real quick, what are the main things? So brothers don't waste their time. What are the main things that you cannot have to get into this field?
But I don't know. I mean, obviously something like killing somebody or something would probably be a problem, but I don't know everybody's situation.
I was thinking.
I know what I'm saying is I don't know everybody's situation. Well, yeah, obviously fraud would be a problem too, but I don't know everybody's situation. And also, I don't know what in some employers, I'll tell you what you want to do on the website. The website is www.liftonltvacademy.com. Schedule a free consultation for free, and I'll give you a consult, and we can hash all these things out. And so if you have any issues or anything like that, I'm not talking to you, brother. I'm not talking to the other people. Yeah, I'm not even talking. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, but if you anybody wants to come to the website, if you have issues, if you have a record or anything like that, give me a call. We can talk about it. I talk to people all the time. So specifically, if it's anything you need, obviously I'll be here to try to help you. That's what I try to do. And it'll be free of charge. I won't charge 50 cents, and we'll go through it and we'll hash it out and see what we can put our heads together. My calendar's open.
Appreciate that for the people too, man. I do have a question for y'all. I'm not really in the tech field. I do more manual labor, right? And I was hearing y'all talk about how y'all barely even get out in the elements and really move around, right? Mm-hmm. I think it's kind of risky to tell our people to not really know how to use their bodies mobily to make money.
Oh, Mike, Mike, we ain't got time for this, bro. Not today. Not today, bro. Not today. We ain't got time for this, man.
You can do both at the same time,
brother. Listen, if somebody needs to gain employment, we ain't got time. Well, is it manual labor?
You can do both at the same time.
Like nobody in here suggested. Like what you're bringing up, nobody suggested, bro.
All right, best. So let me get down to the nitty gritty. Within the last 2 years, we've seen tech jobs drop down significantly, right?
Go ahead, Subzero.
So the thing is about the tech jobs dropping, that's not true. What you've seen is you've been hearing in the news companies are laying people off. What's his name? Elon Musk said, if you know how to code, you don't have anything to worry about. So when you hear in the news that some company out there in San Francisco, California, or Palo Alto is laying people off, that doesn't mean, look, everywhere you see an office building, every organization from Waffle House to racetrack gas station need people in tech. I know people that work in racetrack. Racetrack has called me. Macy's, Best Buy. Every organization needs data. And what happens is these people are sitting in their houses working. A lot of these people aren't even going into these organizations. So tech is a gargantuan sized skill set. It's a gargantuan sized arena. And if you want to get in, give me a call, give us a call. We'll definitely be glad to talk to you and answer any questions that you may have. As far as deterring any brothers from the physical activity, anything like that, I just left the gym. I went to the gym and worked out. I work out twice a day.
Zub, you ain't even gotta. You don't have to. Yeah. All I know is you and Javon came on to give brothers opportunities to get work, and he talked about some, where. I don't know what he's talking about, man. He just wanted to be combative. He's wanted to be combative, talking about some manual labor. You discourage your people to participate or get jobs in manual labor. I mean, he just want to argue, bro. Go ahead, Sub.
Well, yeah, look, I gotta go. And I know Javon, he only told me he only had an hour. Does anybody have any other questions?
Nah, man, thanks a lot. It's good to hear your voice. It's good to meet you, Javon. Thanks, Dynast, for having such great shows. Thanks, Matt.
I appreciate it.
Hey, no problem, man. Everyone, thank you so much for joining. Like, share, subscribe. Until next time, family, Dynast, Search for Uhuru. Peace.